So, I know I'm a young upstart who's filming in a bedroom, but hear me out. You might have noticed I got my braces off. After clicking on this video, you're probably saying, it's just another one of those videos comparing characters from two completely different fandoms. And to that I say, that's exactly what this video is going to be. But since you did click on it, I'm assuming that means that the title either got you insanely curious or you've already started to notice some similarities between these two characters. It can't just be me who watched Fantastic Beasts and got serious Elsa vibes. But let's get into it. I am the Flighty Fairy. I flip from one fandom to another, and today I will actually be talking about two of them. If you've seen my other Fantastic Beasts videos, you'll know that I am a pretty big fan. But today I haven't made a single Frozen video, and it makes me sad because it's one of my favorite movies. Yes, I am unashamed. I'm one of those people who never grew out of Frozen. Also the soundtrack, never grew out of that either. Anyone else wish Fantastic Beasts were a musical? But that aside, there are other similarities between the movies that I need to discuss. Like the fact that two of the characters are practically the same person. Let me break it down for you, starting from the very beginning. Both Credence and Elsa were born with hereditary magical abilities that manifested at a young age. Now we don't know for a fact that Elsa's powers are hereditary, but right now it's the leading theory. If you want to watch a Super Collin Brothers video on it, I will link it in the description. And we do know wizarding magic is hereditary, and while Grindel Graves did call Credence a squib, that blew up in his face, literally. Credence's magic probably manifested around 7, and we know that Elsa's powers were fairly developed by the time she was 8, but hadn't been going on forever because of her father's line, "This is getting out of hand." Why would he say this if she had been using her powers since birth and had probably done much stranger things with them before this? Both their powers got stronger over time. Elsa demonstrates this, and we know that wizarding magic naturally matures. And if we want to talk about the obscures for a second, let's compare this one and this one. The first is about the 16th of the size. So during their childhood, both Credence and Elsa had a parental figure who taught them to be afraid of and or suppress their magic. Hashtag conceal, don't feel. Oh wait, I don't have enough viewers for this. Both of these parental figures die, and both become orphans at roughly the same age. Actually, Credence might have become an orphan twice because he was adopted in the first film, but since we know who his parents are now, we're not totally sure whether they're alive or not. Especially because one of them is. No, going to keep the spoiler free, at least for the Crimes of Grindelwald. Speaking of relatives, both have a younger sister who was interested in magic despite having none themselves and was brainwashed out of it. Now this can go a couple ways. Modesty was kind of brainwashed by her mother to stay away from magic, though she ended up doing it anyway. But both Anna and Modesty did have their memories removed by a different magical personage. Actually, Modesty had hers removed twice, once after Tina's attack on Mary Lou, and once with the swooping evil venom rain. Back to comparisons. Lightning round. Both Credence and Elsa have attributes that could be ascribed to a villain. Both would suppress their magic until it would come out in an uncontrollable form all at once. Both had magic that at some point looked like a large, dark cloud. If we want to get into the finite details, there were hints to both of their magic right from their designs. Elsa had white blonde hair and very pale skin, even though both her parents were brunettes. And while it's less obvious, Credence does have black hair cut in a way that it obscures his face. And a tendency to wear all or mostly black, at least in the first movie. Come to think of it, Elsa wears other colors too in the Frozen Fever short, and one of the colors that they both wear is green! Okay, I'm getting really tired of saying Elsa and Credence whenever I want to refer to both of them. There should be a word for that. The power people. It's the best I could come up with. It's not like they have much else in common. Wait. Now that we've got the basics out of the way, it's time to move on to the events in the movie, which also bear a scary amount of similarities. Let's start at the beginning. Out of fear of their magic, both the Power People's personalities start revolving around anxiety and paranoia, and they become very antisocial. This plays out differently with each of them. Elsa can function normally when she doesn't feel threatened, but depends almost fully on gloves. Credence, on the other hand, well, look at him. The Power People get pushed into the spotlight by their parents, being royalty or the leader of a public organization. After their magic was revealed, both fled to a hideaway where it suddenly became less dangerous. It might not seem very obvious at first, but it's likely that the subway was a sort of hideaway for Credence Is Obscurus. When the Aurors start firing on him, we see that that is the place that he goes, and at the beginning of the movie, we see the Obscurus burst out from somewhere underground. This was just after the destruction of a building. Don't you think it's likely that the Obscurus fled to its hideaway to avoid being caught, and then burst out again when it thought it was safe? Turns out it wasn't. This is all kind of an off-topic theory, but I thought I'd put it in here because it isn't really long enough for its own video and it helps with the comparison. However, if I keep doing things like this video will be 20 minutes long, so moving on. Both the Power People end up destroying their homes and towns temporarily, only for them to be repaired by magic. In an intense confrontation with a family member, both ended up striking the family member with their powers and killing them. Yes, I know, Anna came back to life. I think we can assume, though, that she was at least mostly dead, because, I mean, she was literally turned to ice from the inside out. Both the Power People had worked their whole lives not to kill this person. It's more obvious in Frozen, but seriously, if Credence had wanted to kill Mary Lou Barebones, she would have been dead a long time ago. Actually, there came a point in the movie when both actually tried to kill someone with their powers, being the Duke of Wesselton's henchman and Henry Shaw Jr., who actually ended up dying. It's the difference between PG and PG-13 people. Speaking of henchmen, there was a point when a group of people found them in their lair and tried to kill them, with their powers being the only thing that kept them alive. I say powers because we still don't really know why Credence lives. It's just the thing that makes the most sense right now. Cause I mean, seriously, how? During the aforementioned scene, someone important in the Power People's lives, who they had only known for a short time, told them to stop being dangerous, each with a famous line. "Don't be the monster they fear you are. I know that you've suffered, but you need to stop this now," etc. At some point in the movie, both had a good guy and a bad guy telling them to stop and come back, but for different reasons. Unfortunately for Credence, both Grindelgraves and Newt were doing this at the same time. At least Elsa had some time between this and this. Speaking of for the first time in Forever Reprise, both the Power People gained temporary control of their abilities, only to lose it again after a frightening realization. Like, I don't know, setting an eternal winter off in your entire kingdom, or an army of magical police trying to kill you. Or realizing that you killed your sister, or the person who betrayed you is torturing one of the only people who ever showed you kindness. Now, this list is almost done. There's just one more comparison I want to make. In the stories, I've mostly been comparing Hans and Grindelwald because they're the main antagonists. But forget Grace for a second. Both the Power People have the leader of a nation sentence them to death in front of a small body of other very influential persons. I think you're getting my drift here. The scenes are eerily similar. Something tragic happens right after the biggest plot twist in the movie. Hans and the president of Makusa tell the people that they are leading to destroy the threat to their nations. Though it has been around a long time, this is when it's become the most dangerous. I charge Queen Elsa with treason and sentence her to death. Contain this, or we are exposed and it will mean war. The Obscurial was killed on my orders. It's a bit more spread out, but the effect is the same. And Anna and Modesty lived to tell the tale, but seriously, what happened to her? So that is everything. I hope you enjoyed my very long list of comparisons. That list has been sitting on my iPad since December. I just haven't made a video on it until now, but I thought I should before The Crimes of Grindelwald comes out. Because I'm thinking that movie and Frozen 2 might take the characters in a bit different of directions, just a little. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you like this channel, please subscribe. And let me know if I missed any similarities, or if there's any other characters you'd like me to compare. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Later, Magic fans.